Welcome to the first MySQL webinar from JPassion.com. And if you have access to JPassion.com, you will see the topics that we are going to cover in this webinar series. So today we are going to cover some basics of MySQL, and next week we are going to continue some MySQL basics. And from third week, we're going to cover joins, subqueries, views, and PHP, MyAdmin, transactions, stored procedures, performance, data modeling. So it's going to be about 15-week webinar series. All right, so let's get started with the presentation. For those of you who have access to JPassion.com, feel free to download Hands-on Lab, and you can try the demos that I'm showing to you along with me. Okay, MySQL Basics I. By the way, I'm going to take the questions at the end of the presentation. Feel free to post those questions to the question box. Or you can actually post the questions to our class alias as well. So if you happen to have any questions after today's presentation, feel free to post on class alias, and then I'll answer those questions. You don't have to be a paying member to join and post questions on the class alias. Okay, so for today's presentation, these are the topics that we are going to cover. Mainly we are going to actually get started with the MySQL. Okay, so let's start with what MySQL is first. So it's one of the most popular open source database, and it provides high performance and high reliability and easy to use. And in fact, MySQL is being used in production environment in the world's most demanding websites such as Yahoo, Google, YouTube. And for Lambda stack, the M stands for MySQL, and MySQL is supported on all OS platforms. So MySQL product, if you go to MySQL website, you will see in fact the several MySQL products. So the one that we're going to use the most is MySQL Community Server, and it's free. And for commercial version, you have MySQL Enterprise. And it does provide some enterprise features, for example, monitoring. And MySQL Cluster is for providing fault tolerance. And MySQL Embedded Database is designed for being embedded in small devices. And MySQL Workbench is a GUI tool, which we are going to play around later on in this course. Let's start with the installation of MySQL Server. So MySQL, once you installed, what you're going to have is what is called the MySQL D. It is, in fact, the database server. So all you have to do is to start MySQL database server is running MySQL D. For Windows, you can actually install and start your MySQL database server as a Windows service. And other platforms could be installed and run as part of the Lambda stack, or it could be obviously run as independent application. All right, so let's start with the first exercise, which is installation. So let's go to the lab documentation. So exercise 1 is installation of MySQL database package. So you go to MySQL, the download website. If you just click this one, you're going to see your platform-specific download. This is actually installer application that could be run. However, we're going to actually download the zip file. So here, I'm going to go to MySQL Community Server and click download. And again, here you have an option of downloading Windows executable installer or a zip file. So here we're going to just download the zip file. So if you just click one of these two, one is 32-bit, the other one is 64-bit. You download it and you basically unzip it. Okay. So once you unzip it, it contains a bin directory. And let's go to the lab documentation. So we just download it and download the zip file. And then you are going to unzip the zip file in a location of your choice. So I'm going to actually unzip this zip file that I just downloaded on the Java tools, and then it will create a directory called, in this case, MySQL 5.5.28 Win64. And as you can see, it has a bin directory. Okay. All right, so in order to start your MySQL database server from this zip file, which has been unzipped, basically you go to the bin directory, and then you're going to just type MySQL D. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I go to this bin directory. Again, if you see, it has a bunch of the files, including executable of MySQL D. So I'm going to actually run MySQL D here. And basically, by typing MySQL D, I'm starting MySQL database server. Simple as that. So I'm going to start MySQL D, and it is being started. Okay. So at this point, MySQL database server is up and running. Very simple. Again, in Windows, you could have installed it as a Windows service, and the Windows service could be actually run after you actually just kind of log in. Okay. But in this case, I'm just kind of using zip file under which it has a bin directory. And then I'm just running MySQL D manually like this. Okay, so that's basically what I do. In order to shut down MySQL D, you can just use MySQL admin command. So I'm going to actually try that as well. Okay. So here, I'm going to type this one. And you can see it is actually stopped, a shutdown. Okay, so I'm going to just start it again, and I'm going to close this one. Okay, and let's move on. So very simple. Just download the zip file or installer, and for installer it says executable installer, so you can just kind of double click it to install and just follow the procedure. Or simpler way of actually is simpler way of installing is download the zip file, unzip it, and just run MySQL D. Okay. All right. Next is MySQL command line client. So you can actually run MySQL command using MySQL command line client. So that's what you're going to learn. Okay, so what is MySQL command line client? It comes with a MySQL package. So if you go to bin directory, you are going to see MySQL.exe or .sh file. It is used to connect the running database server when you run MySQL. And you can run MySQL either in interactive mode or non-interactive mode. We're going to play around mostly in interactive mode. And when you are running in interactive mode, you can just type SQL command, and SQL command will be performed against the database server that is up and running. And in fact, you can type MySQL --help to see a lot of other options. Alright, so let's move on to exercise 2, which is playing around the MySQL command line client. Okay, so basically, you go to the same directory, and then you're going to type MySQL help, --help. It will give you a lot of options. Okay? So let me just start with the terminal window. But let me just go this one here. And I'm going to go to the bin directory, MySQL. Alright, so this is the directory I have all the MySQL executable file, including MySQL, client. This is the one. Okay, client, the MySQL client. So I'm going to just type MySQL --help to see what kind of options I can play around. Okay, mostly you're going to just type MySQL like this, and then you're going to actually have a shell. Okay, so at this point you can also type help to see what kind of help actions you can perform. And so we're going to actually play around a few exercises on this. We did help, and we can find out the version, of course. Okay. Oh, now I want to actually connect the server. So the command that you're going to use MySQL -u. -u is a user ID and password. So as a default, password is null. Okay, so let's try. Okay, and then we'll say MySQL -u root and -p, and there is no password. I just press enter. Okay. All right, so that's what I see. Okay. By the way, if you see this message, like I can't connect to MySQL server, that means that MySQL database server is not up and running, meaning you don't have MySQL D is running. Okay? All right, so next what we're going to do is we're going to actually see databases. So we're going to try, I'm going to just have this one on the left, and I'm going to this guy, and I have this one on the right. Okay, so I can see what kind of databases we have. So you're going to use show databases. By the way, every single command that we're going to run in MySQL shell has to be ended with semicolon like this. Semicolon like this. So for now, I have 4 databases: information schema database, MySQL database, performance database, and test. Okay. And you can use use command. Use means this is the database that I'm going to use for all MySQL commands at this point. So here, if I want to use a MySQL database, SQL database, and it says database change, meaning the default database I'm using at this point has been changed to MySQL. And you can see all the tables that is actually maintained inside this MySQL database by typing show tables. And you'll see a lot of system level tables. Okay, all right. Okay, so this is what we just did. Again, you can get the help. All right, so let's move on. Pretty straightforward, right? Okay. All right, let's learn some of the SQL syntax, concept and terminology, and some syntax. So what is SQL? SQL is a language for retrieving and manipulating data in a relational database such as MySQL, and it contains commands for data definition, data manipulation, data control, and we're going to see examples of this in the following slide. And of course, this is the NC standard. So SQL terminology: table is a set of rows, and you can think of it as a file. And a row is a record in a file, if you consider a table as a file. And column is a field of a record. And each column is, in a given row, has a single value, including null value is possible, depending on whether that field can be null or not. And then there is a primary key column, which is used as an identity for that particular row in that table. Pretty basic concept. In terms of types of SQL statements, so data definition language, data manipulation language, and data control language. So data definition language is used for creating table, alter table, drop table, and create view. And data manipulation language is for inserting, updating, and deleting. And data control language is for grant and evoke. It's actually used for controlling access rights. So one of the things we are going to cover later on in this course is security, mainly for access control. Okay, moving forward, some SQL basics. So databases. So you can create a brand new database by typing create database MySQL. These commands are case insensitive. So you can have this one lowercase, create database, and MyDB is basically creating a database called MyDB. And then you can specify what is a default database that you want to use. Again, you have seen example already by example of this use. Use MyDB, meaning I'm using MyDB database as a default database for my SQL operation. Drop database is used for dropping database, meaning removing or deleting database. It's the same thing. So drop database and the name of the database that you want to remove. You can use if exists, the statement here. So you can say drop database if exists temp db. So that one is fine. Okay, tables. So this is a way that you are going to create a table. So you say create table and then give a name of the table. And then you're going to specify the columns. So here person ID and then the characteristic of that column And here, first name column and last name column. And then you can specify which field of this is used as a primary key field. So you can say primary key and the name of the field, person ID, right here. Okay, and here you can also specify engine, what database engine that you want to use. So MySQL supports several database engine, and one of the database engine it support is InnoDB. And then you can specify, you can say show tables to find out all the tables in the database. So here, since we just created a person table, you should see person table right here in database of MyDB. Okay, so now this is altering table name. So you can say alter command, alter table. These are keywords, these two, and then give a name of the table. And then you want to give the new name by using rename to. Okay, so you can use either alter command or rename command. Okay, so alter, you're going to use to, and same thing here. So you say here rename table and the name of the table that you want to alter to, and the new name like this. Okay, so here the new table is called person 1. Here we change to whatever. So if you say show tables, you're going to see whatever as a table name. Relatively straightforward. So here you are going to change a name of a field and change the type of that column or field. So you say alter table, so meaning I'm changing person table's last name column to surname, and the type is going to be var character 30. So once you do, by the way, describe person is basically describing that table. So it will give you the output like this, all the column names and all the column names and its type. Okay, so since we changed the last name to surname, this is what we are going to see, and this is a type. Okay, so relatively straightforward. Adding or removing field. So here you are going to use add command. So alter table person, and then you are adding a new field called age, and the type of that age field is small int. Size of 3, unsigned, and cannot be null. Okay, so once you say describe person table, now we are going to see age column or field is added. This is the way that you can remove a column or field. So you say alter table, name of the table, then you say drop and the name of the table. I'm sorry, name of the column or field. Dropping table is using drop command. So you say drop table. So here we have a table called temp table, and then we say drop table and temp table. And also we can use the drop table if it exists. Okay. So again, if you, in this case, show tables, then you're not going to see anything because temp table has been dropped. Okay, working with tables from multiple databases. So you can specify name of the database in this notation. So here I'm performing select query operation from temp table of this temp database. Okay, so if you don't specify this database name, then it's going to use the default database that you set with the use and name of the database. Okay, but you can specify the name of the database before the table to specify that you are performing this SQL command on this particular database's student table in this case. Okay, so fields. So we have seen some examples of the fields already. So field contains field name and data type, and then field modifier or constraint. So these are examples of the integer data type. It could be tiny int, which is 1 byte, small int is 2 bytes, midi int is 3 bytes, and int itself is 4 bytes, and big int is 8 bytes. And float is a single precision, and double is a double precision, and decimal is decimal values, and this is a bit. And continuation of field data type, it could be character or bar character. Bar character is a variable length. And then there are date time and year, and also date time and timestamp, and enum and set. So these are all possible field data types. Modifiers. You can set your field to be either not null or null. Okay, so if you set it not null, then it cannot be null. So if you have that field as null, then it's one of the exception that you will experience. The default, you can set the default value. So if no value is specified, then default value will be used. Auto increment, MySQL auto increment, in this case, if you set your field to be auto increment, then MySQL automatically generate a number by incrementing the previous value by 1. And this is typically used for creating primary key. And also you can specify character set. Okay, so let's do exercise 3. Okay, so here we're going to play around with a few things. By the way, in order to find a particular syntax of a particular command, you can always use help. So here, I'm actually trying to find out the syntax of creating database. So I'm going to type help create a database, for example. Then you're going to see the syntax of creating database. Okay, so here I'm going to create my DB database. So far we don't have the database. By the way, you should be able to do these things. Okay, so you can just kind of arrow key, then you should actually see all the commands. Okay, so I don't have my DB, so I'm going to create database and my DB like this. So now if I display all the databases, then I should have my DB right here. Okay. All right, now we have seen examples of use, right? Use is used to set a default database. Again, if I want to see how use is used, I can help on use. Okay, so you can just basically, use command and the name of the database. Okay. All right, so here, since I just created my DB, I'm going to use my DB from this point on as a default. Okay. Now, if I try to see tables of my default database, there is none, right? Okay. So this is what we have done, and now we're going to create a table. Okay. So again, you can say help create table. Then you can see a bunch of syntaxes. And we are going to use, we're going to create a person. So I'm going to just type create table person and like this. And I'm going to say person ID and small int. And I'm going to just, without specifying any, I'm going to just take the default type and first name and last name, again I can say bar 45 like this, and now I can specify what is my primary key field. So primary key and the field is supposed to be is to be person ID field like this, and what is the, okay, here we go, and then then I can just like this. Oops. Primary key, person ID. You have error in your SQL syntax. Last name var. Okay, so let's see what is syntax that I have. Create table person. That's correct. So let's actually see what is the error message is saying. You have an error in your SQL syntax. Check the manual that corresponds to MySQL Server version for last name. And maybe it didn't, it didn't like the I didn't specify things. Okay, so let's actually try to. I'm gonna this time. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I'm gonna just copy these things. And okay, and then first name field and last name field and primary key Okay, so it is created. So if I say show table, now I should see person in my default database. Okay. Now I'm gonna alter table name. So here I'm going to use, I'm gonna just use a rename. Oh, so this one I have to change it person 1. All right, so let's try both. So now I changed the person 1. Now if I change it to whatever, then it should display whatever as a table name. Okay, and now let's display show tables. Now it shows whatever is the name of the table. And then you can change it back to person in this case, and then yeah, change it back. So yeah, let's change it back since I want to just copy and paste the commands. So I'm changing it back to person. Okay, so now if I say show tables, now I have a person table. Okay, now you can use the describe command to describe that particular table. So describe, I basically give you metadata information about the table. Describe person, so you can see it has these fields and types. Okay, and some of the constraints. Okay, so here I'm going to alter table. Yeah, so here now I'm actually changing field names. So I'm going to try this. So I'm changing last name field to surname and the var character 30. Okay, so again, if I describe person, you can see now the field name is surname instead of last name. Okay, now we are going to add or remove fields. So here we are going to add a new field. So here, okay, so now if I describe a person, now we have a new field called age. Okay, here we can remove the first name. So, and then if I describe table, you can see the first name field is gone. Now we are going to add or remove primary key. So for now, primary key field is a person ID field, right? Now you can, so here let's actually try to remove the primary key. So here, okay, and if I describe person, there is no, so here it actually indicates that this person ID is a primary key. So this is one of the metadata information describing each column, which one is in fact primary key. Now I remove primary key even from person ID, so you don't see anything right here. Okay. So now this time I'm going to add it again. So I'm going to actually setting the person ID as a primary key field. So I mean, this is probably not a good example. You could have in fact another, let's say, column that could be used as a primary key. Okay, so in this case we're going to use the person ID as a primary key again. All right, now if I describe the table, you can see the primary key indication is specified for person ID column. Okay. All right. Now retrieve SQL statement that was used in creating a table. So basically show and so the show create table. Yeah. So basically, if you want to see how table is actually being created, you can use the show command. Yeah. So this is the command that is used to create a person table. Okay. So you can see it, this is a complete SQL command for creating person tables. So, you can see this is actually as a default. Okay. Working with multiple databases. So here we are going to create another database called the tempdb. So let's try to create tempdb. Okay, so now if I say show databases, we should see both, misspelled databases. now we should see not only MyDB but also TempDB. Okay. Okay. So now we are going to create now we say TempDB as a default. So we're going to say use TempDB. Like this. Now default database is set as a TempDB. So when we create a new table, this table will be created in TempDB instead of MyDB. So again, I'm going to just copy these things and temp ID and temp whatever. And this. Okay, now we are going to actually use insert to add two rows into this temp table. So we haven't learned the insert, delete, and update yet, but let's try to add two rows into this temp table. So here, insert into temp table, and the names of the fields are the columns, and then you say values, and then you are going to specify each row with this syntax. The values of each row can be specified inside the parentheses. Okay, and this is the second row. Okay. Okay, now if I say show select is a query method in SQL, and from temp table. So basically, again, it goes to temp table, which is in the default database, and display all the rows, okay, which we just added. And let's see. You can specify the database in this notation. So here, the TempDB is a default, so you don't have to specify in this case, but you can specify. Okay, so it should result in the same data. And here I am creating MyDB student table. So here I can say create table MyDB and student. So this student table is being created in MyDB database rather than TempDB database. Okay. So again, this is creating table and inserting it, and then I can display information like this. And then you can drop database and table. So basically you're using drop command on both database and table. So here we are going to display all the tables, and then you can say drop temp table, and we can also use exist if exist command and show tables. Okay, and here you are going to display databases, and here we are dropping the TempDB. So if I say TempDB, and then if I try to display databases, then I'm going to just say show databases, then I should see only MyDB instead of the TempDB. Okay, moving forward. So that is exercise 3. Now let's move on to the next topic, which is insert, update, and delete into a table. So you already have seen example of insert. So here I'm inserting a new row into person table. So you are going to use insert and int, the name of the table, and the columns that you want to set some values. Okay, so person ID, first name, last name, age, and then you say values, and then you specify each the row. So in this case, one Sang, first name, last name, and age. Okay, so now if you perform query operation, this is what we are going to see. You can add multiple rows or multiple records into a table. So here, once you specify values, and you can specify multiple rows. You have seen examples of this already. This is deleting records. So here you can say delete from the name of the table, and then you can use where clause in which you can specify the condition of the records. In this case, I like to delete all the records, all the fields, I'm sorry, not fields, all the records or rows whose age value is less than 10. Okay. Here you can update with a where clause as well. So what you're saying is that for person table, I want to set age field 88 for all the records whose age value is 99 or first name is Paul. Okay, so now if you perform this one, there could be, in fact, it looks like there were two rows that meet that where clause condition, and the age value is changed to 88. Okay, so you say update name of the table, set keyword, and then the field that you want to set, and the value of the field that you want to set with, and then where clause. Okay, so let's try exercise 4. So here, let's try to use MyDB again. Use MyDB. Okay, and we are going to so we drop the table, and let's see if this is in fact the same person. So let's see whether we have that. I'm going to use a describe person. Okay, so looks like it has been changed. Okay, so I'm going to just drop it, and then we're going to create this with this. So we are going to drop the table. Okay, and then we're going to create again with this. And I could actually person ID. It looks like data has been a while, so I'm going to just copy. Person ID column and first name column and last name column and age column and primary key indication and last. Okay, all right, so table has been created. Okay, now we are going to insert new rows. So here we're going to insert just one more entry, one more record into this person table. So we're going to say insert into person table, and these are the set of columns that I want to insert to, and the values here we are just inserting one record. Okay, now if I perform query operation against the table, then we should see one record that we just have added. Okay, and then we can add a few more. So here insert into person table, again values, and then second and third and fifth and sixth one. Okay, so now if I perform query select operation, we'll just perform select star from person table. You can see we have 6 records. Alright, now we can delete a record or records. So let's try to perform delete operation. So in this case, we want to delete a record whose age value is less than 10. So we have only one, so which is Nicole. Okay, so here let's do this. And then if I do select, then you can see that Nicole is gone because her age was 9. And here we are deleting from person table whose last name is S-O-N-G, Song. So we have only one person, so Daniel. Okay, so we are going to delete. And again, if you see select operation, you can see Daniel Song is gone. Okay, and now you can also actually display the number of rows deleted. So here the row count is just one deletion. Okay, and okay, so that is pretty much Yeah, it looks like it has to be -1 instead of 1 here. Okay, moving forward, updating a record or records. So here we are going to update anybody whose age is 99 or first name is Paul. So here, the first name Paul. So the Paul is qualified, and age is 99. So there is no one in this case. The 99, age 99. Okay, so in this example, I don't have anybody whose value is 99, so it's going to just change. Oh, it's already 88. Okay, that's why. All right. So here, yeah, we're going to change 89, so that we know exactly what we're going to do. And then we are going to have this where clause, and then if we do this query operation, you can see the Paul is the only one that is qualified and whose age has been changed to 89. Okay. All right, so let's move on to the next. So next is, in fact, the most frequently used SQL command, which is a query operation using select. Okay, so you already have seen select in action. So here, when you use select and you can specify the names of the columns that you want to retrieve the data from this table. Okay? So if you use star, that means you want to retrieve all the columns. But here I'm just retrieving just last name age field. Here you can specify where clause. So I want to display first name and age columns from person table for all the entries, all the records whose age value is greater than 50. And this one is having AND operation. So age is less than 50, and first name is like. Like is this like notation is any name who's ending with this. This is a pattern. Okay, so anybody whose first name pattern is like this. Okay, all right. So this is in this case the song. And you can specify the display to be the result is going to be in order. So this is ascending order on age field, and this is order by age, but this is a descending. So in this case, you can see all the records are in order of age, ascending order, and this is descending order in this case. And you can specify the limit of rows that you want to retrieve. So in this case, when you say limit 3, it's going to return just the first 3 that meet the select query operation. All right, so let's try to select exercise 5. So select is again the most frequently used. So here I'm going to just update this. And we can insert another values and the record song again. Okay, now if I say select from person. How many entries? We've got 5. Okay, and then you can say, yeah, select last name and age field from person, and then we are going to retrieve just the last name and age columns. Okay, and here we are performing some select operation based on age. So select first name and age from person, and then where age is greater than 50, semicolon. Okay, and we have only 2 people who are qualified, Sang and Jack. Okay, and this one we are using pattern. Okay, so here on person table, here age is less than 50, as well as anybody whose first name ends with an idea. Okay, so we should have just one person. And retrieving record with the ascending order by clause. So here we are going to try retrieving in ascending order on age, and order by age, ASC. its default is ASC. Okay, so you don't have to specify as ASC. But however, if you want to have, display information in descending order, then you have to specify DESC. Okay, now you can see the rows are displayed in descending order on age column. Retrieving record with age limit. So here we are going to try same command, and yeah, so we'll try this and limit 2. So we'll have just 2 rows being retrieved. And you can also actually use an alias. So here, select first name as given name. So, you know, basically you are going to give a new the column name as a temporary basis. So here we're gonna try this. So instead of displaying first name as a column name, I want to display it as a given name. So in this case, what you're gonna see is in fact given name. Okay, so here we are displaying first name as a given name, last name as a surname from person. So if I execute this command, as expected, we now see given name and surname. Okay. Next one is arithmetic operation. Is pretty straightforward. You can say select 3 plus 6. So if you say select 4 plus 6, and it will display, semicolon, you can see it display the result. Okay, and that is 1 will result 135. You can also have the count of age column. So here select count age from person, and you can see we have 5 rows. And you can also have average value, so AVG, and now it's 4480, and you can also have a sum. Okay, and 224. And you can also have a minimum and maximum. So let's try minimum and N. So 22 is a minimum age in the table, and max is, okay, 88. All right. So I just to show you the demo, so I'm going to just move on. And so far, what we have done with MySQL shell was actually, you know, inserting the typing individual command. However, you can read and execute SQL script file. Okay. So here basically what you're gonna do is using source commands. You say source and the name of the SQL file. Okay. All right. So let me see whether I have. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So let's see these. So we just did this. I'm gonna go to exercise 7. So I'm going to create the student SQL file in okay, I'm going to just open another terminal. Okay, I'm going to just my text and student SQL. I'm going to just copy. So here basically we drop the student table if it exists, and we create a student table, then we insert some entries to it. Okay? So here I'm going to save it. Okay. And to temp student SQL. Okay, student SQL. So it is saved as a student SQL. So now we are going to try this. MySQL. There we go. So we are going to perform source and read student SQL. Okay, so you can see student table has been created. So if I say show tables, then we should see student. And if I say select from student, you can see the six rows of the students actually being displayed. Okay. All right, so that's about it, and this is the homework. I think that's pretty much what I have. Okay, so let me just